People got upset with this content creator for getting princess treatment, and I'm about to find out why.
At a restaurant and how you interact with the waitstaff and the hostess. If I am at a restaurant with my husband, I do not talk to the hostess, I do not open any doors, and I do not order my own food. So someone had sent me a message a couple weeks ago asking about, like, let's say your husband drops you off and he goes to park the car, what do you do? Or if it's raining or something like that and he wants you to put your name down. And I had a very similar situation happen to me with my husband a couple weeks ago. I'll put her question on the screen so you can see exactly what she's saying, but we pulled up, me and my husband.
That situation, what do you do when he drops you off before parking the car though? Usually this happens because it's raining or cold. So the point is for me to step inside quickly to avoid any discomfort. In this instance, do you go ahead and handle the interaction with host or hostess since you're standing right there? Do you just not make eye contact until your husband gets there? Also, my husband often wants me to hop out and put our names down in times where it might be beneficial to be an influx of people coming into the restaurant, casual dinner place. What do you do? What do you and your husband do in these situations? Many thanks in advance. Any advice you could provide would be much appreciated, ma'am. This sounding like she into some freaky 50 Shades of Grey stuff. She got some kinks going on here.
We pulled up to a restaurant and he wanted to run in and see. We didn't have a reservation. He wanted to run in. Well, we didn't have a reservation, so we wanted to go up and see if it was possible for us to get in. He pulled the car up at the valet station. I stayed in the car. He got out of the car, told the valet, I'm just gonna run in and ask a question. I'm gonna leave my car here. I sat in the car while he ran in and asked them. They said, yeah, we have space for you. And then my husband said, okay, I'm gonna go get my wife and then I'm gonna park the car. So he comes back out, opens my car door, walks me into the restaurant, opens the door, and I stand and wait. I did not make eye contact with the hostess. I did not talk to her. I waited until my husband came back. He comes back, does the exchange with her, and then we went and sat down. Let's say it's raining. You already have a reservation, okay? Your husband's gonna pull you up to the restaurant. He's gonna get out, open your door. He's gonna walk you to the restaurant door, open the door, and walk you in. He's probably then gonna leave to go park the car, or he's gonna go exchange whatever he needs to do with the valet. You're just gonna stand in the lobby or whatever the space is, and you're gonna wait for your husband to come back. You're not gonna go up to the hostess and give the reservation name. You're not gonna talk to her. This isn't out of like I'm better than them and I don't need to talk to them and I don't need to, I'm not like it's not in any sense like you're better than the hostess. You're just letting your husband lead and be masculine. He made the
You're weird, Mel. And I'm gonna need you to nod your head if you okay. That is exhausting. You gotta be a different type of stupid to do any of the stuff she talking about. Your husband gotta get out the car because you can't open your mouth and speak to other people while y'all out in public. Make it make sense. You can't go up in there and put your name down for y'all to get seats in the restaurants. You can't talk to the hostess. Blink twice if you okay. Never mind, you don't want to be saved.
Reservation. He's taking you out. Let him do the logistics. You're just being a princess. It's not because you're being hoity-toity. You're just letting your husband lead and letting him take care of it. So if I don't even know another situation where you would need to be dropped off. Usually there's a valet so you can both get out together. But again, like, you don't need to feel awkward about it. Another huge part of the princess treatment is, I don't know if we specifically talked about this, but the over need to like talk and fill space. Like, you don't need to talk unless you are spoken to. And then if you are spoken to and they ask, you could just say, oh, I'm just waiting for my husband, and then he'll be able to give the reservation. Or you can say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not sure. My husband will be back, and then you can ask him. You can say it in a very soft and feminine way. I know this is going to be ripped apart. People will just take things seriously such the wrong way, but that's how I would handle it. And then let's just go further into, so if you're sitting down, you're ordering. In New York, for the most part, the waiter would come up, they would ask, whatever, my husband would start to speak, and then the waiter would address them, and the waiter would get the hint, and only then interact with my husband. Here in Salt Lake, they don't quite get it. I think they think that I'm like being, oppressed, or I don't know. They'll be like, what can I get you to eat? And I will just look at
because they have sense, bro. What is wrong with you? You need to go seek help. You recorded this, ran it through, and still posted it like this was the advice that you need to be giving to young women, young girls. If a man ever in his life try to have you acting like her, run for the hills. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's okay for him to plan everything and you go with him. But I think the point about you having a romantic dinner is you being able to decide what you want to eat. Tell you, hey, I made a reservation at Nobu. Meet me there at 5. You show up to Nobu and the hostess take you to your seat and your husband already there. He pull out your seat, you sit down. He like, hey babe, get whatever you want. You don't want that. You want some, hey, get out the car. You ain't want him to tell you where you going. You just want to be surprised all around. You want him to order your food. And the way it's going, based on this advice you giving, I wouldn't be surprised if your husband was chewing your food and putting it in your mouth. You should not be going to restaurants and not speaking to the hostess. Just looking at your husband and waiting for him. Man, what would you have? Man, would you like anything to drink? She have rum on the rocks, and she says she want to lose weight, so just give her a salad.
Like if they address me first, I will just look at my husband and let my husband order. He'll say, oh, she's da 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 da. And then if they have a follow-up question, like, oh, do you want it like this? Sometimes I will answer. Let's say I think maybe my husband doesn't know what I would want. I will then address the waiter. But it's almost like they keep trying to like get me to speak. And I'm like, no, I want him to order for me. I like when he orders for me. It's not that I'm not capable of ordering for myself. It's just fun. It's just a fun princess treatment thing. It makes me feel special. It makes me just feel like over the top taken care of. So if the waiter addresses you first, I will simply just look at my husband and then my husband will order. Again, you don't need to over speak, over exert yourself. You can be feminine and soft and quiet. The most elegant, lovely women are often soft-spoken and don't overspeak. They're not loud. Maybe let's also talk about that. You're not going to be laughing loudly, speaking loudly, demanding the attention of the room when you're at a restaurant. You're with your husband, your boyfriend, whoever, fiance. You're speaking to him, eye contact.
Ma'am, you over speaking right now. You ain't shut up yet. I don't understand how you got your master's in femininity, because as far as I'm concerned, you done filled every single course. Boyfriend, fiance, husband are not the same and should not be treated the same. They do not have the same stations in your life. Why do you care about what other people around you think when you out with your husband? You don't have to be loud, but you should be having a good time and enjoying yourself. What do you mean take up space? She like on the type of level that some of these men won't. I see why she married. Cook, clean, X, and shut the heck up. That's what she basically is telling y'all to do. Why do you want to be in a relationship with a robot? That's embarrassing to me. Like, you go out and you can't even order your own food. You're not interacting with anyone there. And the hostess, the servers, etc., they're just trying to do their job. And they probably are trying to figure out whether or not they should call 911.
With him, the attention is kind of on him. You're not laughing so loudly that everyone in the room is looking at you, or speaking so loudly that everyone in the room is looking towards you. You take the napkin, put it in your lap immediately. You're not waiting. You're not, oh, sorry. You know what I mean? Oh, another thing, at the coat check, let's say it is raining, you have a coat on. Don't go up and wait and ask for the coat check. Wait for your husband. Let's say your husband's dropped you off early. Wait for your husband to come back, and then he can take your coat off and give it to the coat check. So anything really, you're just waiting for your husband to do it. And again, it's not because you can't. It's not because you're not able to, and it's not because you're better than anybody. It's just the fun part of being that princess, of being that feminine wife, and letting your husband take care of you.
Ma'am, you don't know what a princess is, because what you just said is that is hostage treatment. Real princesses in this world do not act like that. They speak. They act under their own volition. They're intelligent. I can understand you wanting him to open the door for you, pull out your seats. Chivalry should not be dead. But the rest of the stuff that she's talking about is hostage treatment. Like, something is wrong with you. You need to go seek help. And she talking about don't take attention away from him. He's the center of attention. Ma'am, you the center of attention because they trying to figure out what's wrong with you. They eyeing you. You sitting up there trying to be all quiet and not loud, and they're looking at you like, hey, blink once if you need help. Y'all don't need to go out. Y'all just need to order Uber Eats at home and have y'all romantic dinners there, so people won't think that they need to call 911 and get you some help.
You're already having to do so much. Your brain is constantly already on as a housewife, stay-at-home mom. You're running and managing so much. In those fun little moments, it's really just so lovely to let your husband do that for you. Anyways, again, long-winded, hopefully helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, as always.
Yo, hey, is this the type of relationship y'all trying to have with y'all partner? Put it in the comment section. She got a lot of backlash.
Now order my own food.
Welcome in, ma'am. And what will you be having this evening? Oh, hold on. You forgot your purse.
Hey, it said princess treatment or prisoner treatment. No shade, but it doesn't look like he orders her any food either. She thinks it come off as princess treatment, but really it comes off as I'm too good to talk to the service staff. Princess treatment, it is just her being her husband property. Does she go places by herself? You know she thinks that's too radical. She also has a video saying her husband puts her shoes on for her. I get princess treatment, but that's a little bit too much. So I fell out. So she don't put her shoes on, nor do she tie her shoes. He do that for her. So maybe I need to be asking the husband, is he okay? Because maybe he really the prisoner in this situation and having to deal with her narcissistic behavior. He might be the victim. Point of view, you're watching a woman who thinks she's receiving princess treatment.
Another question that I'm getting about princess treatment. If you go out to dinner and your husband orders you something because he is going to order for you, orders you something that you're allergic to, what do you do? Telling him that you're allergic to it or that you would prefer something else would be very emasculating, so you're not going to say anything. If you go into anaphylaxis and you have your EpiPen on you, I would not use it. I would simply die. Using an EpiPen at a restaurant is not going to look very feminine. It's going to cause a lot of attention. People are going to be looking at you. You're going to take the focus away from your husband. Really, at the end of the day, the most feminine thing that you can be is dead.
Why do he need to order for you? I don't understand it. I don't know what world she living in. Actually, concerning as weird as her content was, that was an outlet and exposed her potential abuse. Some doesn't sit right with me. I'm not gonna say because her account is gone that it's because he made her take it down. I think she took it down because she wanted to. Because to me, if you're making an account about this stuff, that's not really feminine. You got your husband speaking for you in public, but you speaking for yourself in private. That ain't right. She should have had her husband make that video and explain what princess treatment is, answering all the questions, not her, because he needs to be masculine. See, she was doing stuff out of order. She got to do better because that's not feminine and that's not princess treatment. If that man is up in there putting your shoes on your feet and tying them, why is it that you up here making TikToks? She says she trained her husband to be that way.
Let's talk about the princess treatment lady. So this woman posted a video on TikTok saying that when she goes out to dinner with her husband, she demands princess treatment. So what does that mean to her? She says that she doesn't open doors, she doesn't look the waitstaff in the eye, she doesn't speak to any of the servers, she doesn't order for herself, because she believes that doing so is not feminine or demure, beyond this being completely psychotic behavior. Something I can't stop thinking about is the strange hypocrisy that she's basically arguing that women should be seen, not heard, but somehow she's comfortable to come online and tell other women how to live their lives. Because if her whole thing is that women should be docile and subservient and silent, she herself is still not upholding that standard. She's not truly happy having no voice or perspective in the world. You can tell from her videos she's very intentional about her image, the way her hair is, the way she's positioning, the way she looks. I think she has so much anxiety that in real life she can't uphold this perfect standard she's created for herself and other women. She's petrified to do anything that violates that standard in public, so she does nothing. So she's created this princess treatment code to justify her own fears about interacting with others. You can still choose to be a stay-at-home mom or have a more traditional lifestyle, but that choice should be made because it's what fulfills you, not because it's what's expected of you. She believes this behavior is how she earns kindness and respect as a woman. And it is incredibly dangerous that creators like this are able to get on this app and to preach this sort of propaganda that impacts young women.
She looked like that's either your mother or your oldest sister, by the way. She privatized or deleted her page. I'm not particularly sure whether or not she's Mormon or anything like that. I think a lot of people need to understand what traditional wives are and what that actually looks like. And I also think that people need to live in reality that a lot of times those traditional wives, like way back in the day, they weren't happy. They didn't have a choice but to marry and stay with that man because they couldn't do anything on their own. Some of the men say, my grandma and granddaddy been married for 40 some years and they been happy all through those years. He's probably been happy, but she probably wasn't. It was a lot of rights that women did not have. It was also certain stigmas back then that kept them in those relationships. So you have to really be mindful of those things before you try to implement that into your everyday life.
Just watch. You've got to go and watch that video. I'll put it in the description here. Stitches are turned off. I wonder why. This woman says that her husband ties her shoes for her. It's a special princess treatment. That was a woman talking about special princess treatment that women should be getting in their marriages. You know, that whole trad wife trend. Could you imagine spending 5 minutes on a video teaching people how to play a role? Because that's all it is. You're playing a part, a role, being an actress in your own life, instead of actually, just being yourself. Laughing if you want to laugh, talking if you want to talk, ordering your own food if you want to order your own food, talking to wait staff if you feel like engaging with wait staff at a restaurant. I think the biggest shame of all is that many women are hopping on this trend and playing this role, or learning how to play this role, thinking that if they play it well enough, they'll get a man or their man to be who they want them to be, so then they can play a role. I don't know, call me a modern woman if you will. I just think we should all be who we are. Be a partner to our partner. Be a friend, be a lover. Be ourselves. Crazy talk, right? I'll tell you, the shit I see on this app never ceases to amaze me.
I 100% agree. Life is too short for you to be trying to play a role and for you to be miserable. Just be who you are. If somebody is in love with you, they should love you for you, not what they want you to be. The men that be like, hey, I don't want your opinion, I don't want to hear nothing you gotta say, they need to go find themselves another man, or they need to be by themselves. Because what's the point of being in a relationship if you don't value their opinion or respect them as a person? As a hotel worker, the way she's telling you to behave is what we're trained on to spot trafficking or kidnapping or DV victims. Not a single woman I admire for her elegance and presence behaves like. And when it comes to this idea of princess treatment, real princesses, both modern and historical, were not silent or submissive. The ones we see today speak with confidence, advocate for important causes, and carry themselves with strength and dignity. The historical figures we hear about often live tragic lives, used and controlled by their families and husbands for political or personal gain. There's nothing admirable about shrinking yourself to make someone else feel powerful. Exactly. Ma'am, you ain't never seen Princess and the Frog? Tiana was working towards her own business. Oh my gosh. You ain't see Brave? Oh, I forgot the princess in the name up in there, but she hunted and everything.
Okay, so everyone's seen that video at this point, but I just wanted to talk about it from the waitress's perspective. Because if a couple walks in like that and the man is the only one that's doing all the speaking and the woman doesn't acknowledge me, doesn't make eye contact, doesn't order her own food, and the man's doing everything, I'm immediately assuming that you're in danger or like you need some sort of help. The man is abusing you, he has you under control. Like that's immediately where my mind is going to. Or I'm assuming that you have some sort of severe anxiety and you just can't like order your own food and you have to have this man do it for you. Or maybe you have a disability, like a mental disability, or you're deaf or you're mute or
She's
something along those lines. And I think it's safe to assume that that's how most people will view you if you act that way in public, and literally none of those things are feminine.
She operated on a different level of stupid, because ain't no freaking way. None of that is feminine. It's actually pretty sick. And you have to be very careful who you're taking advice from. It also makes me question the type of man that she's with. Because why are you cool with your wife wanting this type of princess treatment? Why do you have to put on a grown woman's shoes and tie them up for her? That's weird. She's not your child. She's a grown, able-bodied woman. And to me, that has to be exhausting. As always, remember that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Stay blessed.